the soldier and frontier leader. William Henry Harrison was born into a prestigious family. His father was one of the signers of the Declaration of Independence. However, rather than immediately pursuing politics, Harrison chose a military career and quickly became a distinguished commander in campaigns against Native American tribes on the American frontier. Harrison gained particular fame for his leadership in the Battle of Tippecanoe in 1811. As the governor of the Indiana Territory, he confronted a powerful Native American alliance led by the Shawnee chief Tecumseh and his brother Tenskwatawa, also known as the Prophet. Tecumseh sought to unite the tribes to resist American expansion into their lands. Recognizing the threat, Harrison launched a military campaign against the alliance's stronghold at Prophetstown. The battle was fierce, but Harrison's forces ultimately emerged victorious, weakening Tecumseh's Confederacy. Although Tecumseh continued to fight during the War of 1812, the victory at Tippecanoe cemented Harrison's reputation as a formidable general. This triumph earned him the nickname Hero of Tippecanoe, a title that would later prove invaluable in his political career. Beyond his military achievements, Harrison was also a key administrator in America's expanding frontier territories. He played a significant role in shaping policies for the Western lands, facilitating migration and fostering economic growth in these regions. These experiences later influenced his political ideology as he ran for the presidency. The rise of a political legend and a historic election. After leaving the military, William Henry Harrison transitioned into politics and quickly built a career as a leader representing the common people of the American frontier. He held several key positions, including congressman, senator, and U.S. Minister to Columbia. However, it was his military achievements and reputation as the hero of Tippecanoe that truly cemented his place as a major figure in American politics. By the 1830s, the American political landscape was dominated by the rivalry between the Democratic Party, led by President Andrew Jackson and his successor, Martin Van Buren, and the newly emerging Whig Party. The Whigs formed in opposition to Jackson's strong executive authority, and they needed a powerful candidate to challenge Democratic control. Harrison, with his image as a resilient general and a leader who resonated with voters from the western and frontier states, became their ideal choice. The election of 1840 turned into one of the most dynamic and memorable campaigns in American history. The country was in the midst of an economic crisis following the Panic of 1837, which severely damaged Van Buren's popularity. The Whigs seized this opportunity, crafting an innovative campaign that portrayed Harrison as a down-to-earth war hero, in contrast to Van Buren, who was depicted as an out-of-touch aristocrat living lavishly while ordinary Americans suffered. One of the most iconic aspects of the campaign was the use of log cabin and hard cider imagery to frame Harrison as a humble man of the people. A widely circulated story claimed that Harrison would be content living in a simple log cabin with a barrel of hard cider, far removed from Van Buren's elite lifestyle in the White House. This narrative resonated deeply with working-class voters, farmers, and war veterans, helping to fuel Harrison's popularity. The 1840 election also marked the first time large-scale political rallies, campaign slogans, and theme songs became central to an election. The famous slogan, "Tippecanoe and Tyler too," highlighting Harrison's Tippecanoe victory and his running mate, John Tyler, became one of the most memorable in U.S. history. Whig rallies drew thousands, featuring passionate speeches, horse-drawn parades, and even live reenactments of log cabin life to reinforce Harrison's everyman image. Beyond the clever campaign strategy, Harrison's victory was also driven by his ability to unite a broad political coalition, including war veterans, farmers, and those disillusioned with Van Buren's administration. The Whigs successfully mobilized new voter groups, securing a decisive win. Harrison defeated Van Buren with 234 electoral votes to 60, becoming the first Whig president-elect. However, what followed his triumphant inauguration would turn his historic victory into one of the greatest tragedies in American political history. A tragic death and lasting legacy. After his resounding victory in the 1840 election, William Henry Harrison was inaugurated as the 9th President of the United States on March 4, 1841. As the first Whig president to take office, he was expected to challenge the policies of the Democratic Party, particularly the concentration of executive power seen under Andrew Jackson. However, he would have little time to implement his plans. The fateful inauguration speech. Harrison's inauguration is remembered not for the policies he introduced, but for his record-breaking inaugural address, the longest in U.S. history at 445 words. He delivered it in the freezing cold of Washington, D.C., standing outside for nearly 2 hours without a hat or coat. At 68 years old, Harrison was the oldest president ever elected at the time, and his prolonged exposure to harsh weather is believed to have severely impacted his health. Shortly after taking office, he began showing symptoms of what was likely pneumonia, or, according to later theories, enteric fever caused by contaminated drinking water. Initially, he continued working, but his condition quickly deteriorated. With 19th century medicine still in its infancy, doctors attempted outdated treatments such as bloodletting, herbal poultices, and laxatives, which may have worsened his condition. After serving just 32 days in office, Harrison passed away on April 4, 1841, becoming the first U.S. president to die in office and holding the record for the shortest presidency in history. His sudden death triggered a constitutional crisis, as there was no clear precedent for presidential succession. The succession crisis. Harrison's death set an important precedent in U.S. history. At the time, the Constitution stated that if a president died, the vice president would assume the duties of the office. But it was unclear whether the vice president would fully become president or merely act as a temporary placeholder. Vice President John Tyler faced intense pressure from both the Whig Party and Congress. Some believed he should serve only as an acting president, rather than assume full authority. However, Tyler firmly declared himself president and took the oath of office, refusing to acknowledge any suggestion that he was merely a temporary figure. This decision set a lasting precedent. From that moment forward, any vice president assuming the presidency after a president's death was recognized as the full and legitimate leader. This principle was later codified in the 25th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution in 1967, which explicitly stated that the vice president immediately becomes president in the event of the president's death or incapacitation. Harrison's lasting impact. Despite serving only a month in office, Harrison left behind a surprising legacy that shaped American politics. Revolutionizing presidential campaigns. Harrison was one of the first candidates to strategically use mass media and personal branding in an election. The Log Cabin and Hard Cider campaign changed the way candidates engaged with voters, emphasizing slogans, songs, and large public events to build a relatable image. This strategy became the blueprint for modern presidential campaigns. Establishing presidential succession precedents. Harrison's death forced the U.S. government to clarify the rules of presidential succession. John Tyler's firm stance created an unwritten rule that a vice president fully assumes the presidency, later formalized in the 25th Amendment. Short-term strengthening of the Whig Party. Harrison's victory in 1840 proved that the Whigs could defeat the Democratic Party and hold national power. However, internal conflicts between Tyler and Whig leaders weakened the party, leading to its collapse in the 1850s. A cautionary tale on presidential health. Harrison's avoidable illness served as a lesson for future presidents about the importance of protecting their health. Since his death, most presidents have taken greater precautions against harsh weather and health risks while in office. Though his presidency lasted only 32 days, William Henry Harrison remains a symbolic figure in American history. His story is a testament to how even the shortest of presidencies can leave long-term institutional and political impacts, influencing the structure of the U.S. government for generations to come.